Aloha, beautiful people. Welcome to A Better World with Adrienne. I am so grateful and excited to welcome you here into this space. This episode is slow. It's soft. It's a leaning back. It is, I have felt a huge wave of momentum in my life, in the collective, in the rapid change. And I've been welcoming a lot of new guests onto the podcast. And that's been very, very exciting for me, especially since this has been a solo endeavor for most of the time. And at the very same time, I'm feeling a deep call to the ancient roots. And this episode is called Extreme Simplicity. Extreme simplicity, and what that means for your life, and what that means for your leadership, and what that means for your spiritual path, and what that really means for what it is to do this, to do this life in such a way that we're proud of, in such a way that aligns with our destiny, where we're not in the rat race, where we're not at the mercy of our phones or the scroll or technology or any of that. So I'm excited about this episode. I'm excited. I even leaned back in my chair as I said that. So before we begin, let us call upon the altar and say thank you. We have an unscented white candle burning, purifying the space, calling in all healed ancestors, guides, angels, the stars. We have a white Maui rose representing the land of Mu, representing purification, representing the heart. We have rose petals all over my computer, all over my desk, all over, showering unconditional love for this space. We have pens and pencils representing communication and truth, and really writing in new truths. We have blue agate crystal representing the throat chakra of me, of you, of people all around the world, and a reminder that to be able to speak your truth, you first must know and listen to your truth. So that is on the altar today. Let us take our 3 deep breaths together, connecting our mind, body, spirit for this transmission. Whether you are walking, sitting, driving, whatever you're doing, listening to this, inhale through your nose. Exhale out the mouth, fully arriving in this space. Inhale through the nose. Exhale out the mouth. Open up your ears to a different octave of living. Last round, inhale through the nose. Hold it at the top because you can allow a new stage, a new set, a new beginning for yourself. With this transmission, decide that it can change your life. Exhale out the mouth. Gently blink open your eyes. Welcome to this transmission, this podcast. Let us begin. Extreme simplicity. Extreme simplicity. So I was really called to this topic because I lead a very simple life. I lead a very simple life, and it's a very meaningful life. It's a very joyful life. It's a very deep life. Like I'm not really concerned or interested in the, the surface stuff. I want to go deep. I want to go deep with you. And I was really reflecting on, we open up Gemini season, we open up June, and it's halfway through the calendar year. It's an amazing time to really get real on, okay, like I'm halfway through 2024. Like, what have I created? Am I in alignment with my goals and my creations that I decided, or am I not? It's just a very important time in the year to take a pulse check on your life. And whenever you're listening to this episode, whether you're listening to it in June 2024 or you are listening to it years after this will stand the test of time. I am called back to simplicity, and not just any kind of simplicity, extreme simplicity, because I noticed that I was maybe overcomplicating some things in my life, and what that was doing for my spiritual path, what that was doing for my relationships, what that was doing for my business, what that was doing for literally everything. I was just noticing some overcomplication vibes. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to return to the thing that has always served me from the very, very beginning of all of my life. And it is this pure, innocent wonder and inner child and just extreme simplicity. Whether I am in a strategy session for any goal I'm creating, the times where it's been successful is when it was very, very, very simple. Very, very, very simple. And the times when it got weird or things got off in any part of my life, it was because there was complication, unnecessary complication, pretend complication, all of these things. And I really have been sitting in the seat of, and you guys have heard me say this multiple times if you've been a long time listener, is like, I have a really, really deep desire to not use social media potentially at all. And what does that mean for my business? What does that mean for my life? There's a part of me that's really excited about it. And there's also a part of me that's really like, hey, is that even a good idea? Because like I connect with clients through social media, you know what I'm saying? And I just was called into a deeper level of simplicity, and going back. And when I look up the word extreme, because the definitions are, yeah, definitions have codes for us, and it's reaching a high or the highest degree. That's what extreme is. So it's like the highest degree, like when you think about a pendulum, it's all the way to one side. And then simplicity is being easy. The quality of or condition of being plain or natural. Something that's plain, natural, or easy to understand. I love that. I love that the word easy came in. So extreme simplicity for me has always meant I'm focusing on one or two major things and focusing on doing them to the absolute highest and focusing on just the basics in my life, like my daily habits, my health, my hydration, my meditations, my breath work, my astrology study. And it's really coming to this simplicity because as deeper desires and deeper dreams come online for you, there is always the fancy illusion of complication, and it's all just a big distraction. And so I was really called into this. Okay, what is my, I was thinking about my June theme. I'm like, what is my June theme? But also, like, what am I doing for the rest of the year? Like, what's something that's like staring right in my face that I've been missing? And it's been this simplicity. I'm someone who has, I have ideas up the yin yang. If you've never heard that phrase, this is something that people say in my family, but I think people say it in the Midwest. Like, yeah, I have ideas of the yin yang. Like, I could create a new offer every single day for my business. I really, really could, because I have all these ideas. I'm like, oh my gosh, this can help people. This can really move the needle. This can do that. This can do this. And I really have just been called back into the extreme simplicity. And what does that mean for me right now in my life? And it comes back to, like these definitions, it's like the highest degree of ease, the highest degree. I love that plain and neutral. I love that because it really reminds me of, and it's not like I don't like sparkles or flash or fancy shit, but I have always been a very plain person, not even plain, but just like neutral, just natural. You know what it is? It's natural. And that might be my Venus and Virgo. Venus and Virgo is very natural. It's natural beauty. It's natural from the earth. Like, if you watch me on video, if just see me more, you know that I don't wear makeup. I'll wear makeup like on a, if I really feel like it, on a some day of like, okay, I want to I want to have some shimmer on my face. I want to have this, I want to have that. But like, my day to day, I'm not wearing makeup. And I honestly, I love that about me. I once heard someone say, and it made my heart so sad. This is going to be a really free flowing episode. I'm excited for it. It made me really sad when I heard someone say this, but they were like, oh my God, I can't even look at myself in the mirror. I can't stand to look at myself without makeup on. And that made me so sad to hear, because it's like that deep disowning of your real natural self, of your true self. And it's such a metaphor for the rest of life. It's like, what mask are you wearing, And it's not that like makeup is a mask or like any of that stuff, but it's like, it's a deeper octave of what that really means. And I've always been a very natural person. I'm just natural, and I'm natural to the earth. Like, the things that I love are very natural. And, to me, this idea of extreme simplicity is what creates sustainability over time. So I really want to just share some ideas that can support you in your expression of extreme simplicity, because I guarantee you, no matter where you're going, no matter what you're creating, what you're moving through, what's alive for you right here, right now, extreme simplicity is what will help you win. And what does winning mean? Winning means creating what you decided you're going to create and being someone you're proud of as you do it, and serving your mission, and serving and being part of the solution, the agenda of the light. It really is this extreme simplicity. So the first thing is essentialism. I don't know if you have heard of that book. I don't know if you've heard of that concept. And there's a book written by Greg McKeown, and he talks about essentialism, and that's his like idea and way of living. And I didn't know that I was doing it before I came across his work and his book, but it's like, just focusing on the essentials. And it's not like, oh, you only get the bare minimums in life. No, like we get to treat ourselves like I'm all about overflow. I'm all about expansion. I'm all about wealth. Like, you know that about me. But it really is like, what's essential? What is essential? Because we can put all these things on our to-do list, all these extra tasks, all these extra, you know, things we've got to do, but it's like, what's essential? What's essential for you in your time, in your resources, and really focusing on that and doubling down on that, doubling down on that. So it's very different than minimalism. Minimalism is like more about the amount, I would say. Essentialism is more on the meaning. It's like doing a few things really, really well, or a few things that really, really matter, and saying no to everything else. Because here's the thing, are we God source energy in human form with limitless creation power? Yes. And we're also human. Like we cannot do every single thing, and we cannot do every single thing well. And that's what a lot of people do. They do way too much all halfway, and then they never achieve excellence in anything. So this is really, really important of essentialism, is like getting down to the nitty gritty of what really, really matters to you, and then doing that. And that's gonna mean, there's gonna be a hell yes and a hell no. All right. There are, I just really have noticed myself whittling down the different parts of my life. And I'm like, what's essential? What's essential now? What's essential now? What's essential now? That's a question that Greg McEwen asks a lot. And I was asking myself that. I'm like, what is the extra stuff that's actually just a distraction? What is the busy work I've been doing that's actually just a distraction from my life's work? And protecting the things that are deeply important to me. So like my white space in the calendar is so deeply important to me. And it's interesting because people will be like, oh, well, you're free. You don't have any clients. I'm like, I'm free for me and spirit. I'm free for me and what I'm called to create that day. I'm free for me and my study. I'm free for me and my artistry, but that doesn't mean you can come barreling in here with your demands or trying to hijack my day or all of this stuff. It's important, this essentialism, because the world is whipping really, really fast. The world is, we're in Gemini season, and I'm like, really, you can go a mile a minute in Gemini season. You really can. And it's, we get to be very discerning and very deliberate with how we use our time and energy and attention. You may think that money is your greatest resource. It's not. Your energy and your attention is, okay? Because we've all been in situations where we put our energy into something and it completely zaps you in 5 minutes, or you put your energy into something and it expands you like beyond your wildest dreams. Your energy, your time, and your attention, what you give attention to. When people say pay attention, you're literally paying. You're like, yeah, all of these apps are free, but are they really free? No, because the currency they use is your attention. The currency they use is your nervous system, your time, right? Which is all way more valuable than money. So this idea of extreme simplicity, and it really leads me to the 80-20 rule. I don't know if you've ever heard of that rule, but it's this idea that 80% of the results in your life are based on 20% of what you do, are based on 20% of what you do. Okay. So one example of this is like I like using health as an example, but it really depends on what you're doing right now. Like this podcast is for spiritual creators, leaders, like people here on a mission to build something that matters and be part of the change. Health. So 20% of what I do for my health would be food, but it's not, there's a couple key things that create my health, and it's what I put in my body most. Okay. People think like, oh, you got to be in the gym for hours and hours and hours, like every single week. And that's actually not true. You can eat through any amount of exercise. And so really the 20% is like when you think about my time, in my time in the kitchen, and then I do like 5 20-minute workouts a week for real. Like that's it. And I mean, do I go on walks and go to yoga and all of that stuff? Yes, I do. And when I really boil it down, the thing that creates 80% of my results is it's really not very much time at all. It's just very precise, focused, leverage activities. Okay. So the way you can get really, really clear on this is a way of deleting all the things that aren't working, deleting all the busy work, deleting all the bullshit, basically all the extra. We're trimming the fat, right? For this extreme simplicity. And extreme simplicity is very linked to New Earth and New Earth creation with Mother Earth, because Mother Earth is extremely simple. She's like, we have 4 seasons a year. Things die, things are born, things grow, we reap harvest, and then we go again. Like, it's very, very simple. So here's a question that I read years ago, maybe 5 years ago. And it went like this. What's the one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else is easier or unnecessary? What's the one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else is easier or unnecessary? So for me, I'm trying to think what a good example is. Yeah. So I recently closed my membership in my business, and my membership, New Earth Temple. And that was a very, very clear, obvious decision. And it was like I asked for a sign, and then it was immediate, like all of these very clear signs, like, oh, it's time for it to be done. And that was an example of what's the one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else is easier or unnecessary. I was noticing that I was just pouring a lot of energy into the membership, like way more than I did for my one-on-one clients. For like extreme, like way less revenue. And not that everything is tied to cash flow. However, that is very important. And it's so when I was reflecting, I was like, I'm pouring so much into this membership. There's not as many people in it as I want, even though the people in it I love and adore, and we're creating massive transformation. I was like, this is a huge energy leak for me. Like I'm pouring like 80% of my efforts into this and getting 20% of the results, where I was pouring like 20% of my efforts and energy, because really when holding space for someone one-on-one for me is like so deeply nourishing. It does not take a ton of energy. It gives me energy, right? Um, and plus I have decades and decades of systems mastery to bring to the table, so it's very embodied. But that was creating like 80% of the results. And so I was like, what's the one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else in this situation is easier or unnecessary? So I was like, I could alter the membership or I could just close it. And I decided to close it. And I was like, okay, everything else is just unnecessary now. Like, I don't even need to figure it out because it doesn't even exist anymore, right? So when you think about your life and in your simplification process that your next layer is going to call you into, whether it's your healing, whether it's your creation, whether it's your mastery of a skill, it's like it will require a deeper level of extreme simplicity. Like every single time. Every single time. It really will. And life is simple. Life is simple. And the thing is, we make it so complicated because, what is the benefit of complication? Well, if it's complicated, then it's hard. And then I can't do it. And then I have an excuse to not show up and all of these things. And sometimes it's that. And sometimes it's just like you subconsciously freak out when you're going to a new layer in the unknown, and you create complication and you create confusion because you want it to, like, it can be a self-sabotage tactic. It can really, all of it really comes down to, if things are complicated, there's a lack of commitment somewhere. If things are complicated, there's a lack of choice being made. Complicated is unnecessary. And so we are all called into this deeper essence of simplicity when we're making new earth, because complication is just, it leads to confusion. And confusion is like, I don't know who I am. I don't know what the process is. It's all this I don't know energy, right? When really you do know, it just might scare you. It just might be uncomfortable. So, yeah, what's the one thing you can do such that by doing it, everything else is easier or unnecessary? So for me, with like my technology, it's like, what's the one thing I can do such that everything else is easier or unnecessary? Well, I don't go on my phone after dinner time or my evening walk. I have my sacred Saturday every Saturday that I protect at all costs. And what is this? It makes everything else easier because I'm tapped into real life. I'm tapped into myself. I can hear spirit. Like, I can't hear spirit when I'm scrolling, when I'm doing all of this stuff, right? So those are just a few examples. And the other really big thing is like, simple is sustainable. Simple is sustainable. Choose like 2 or 3 things that you can do every single day that you won't miss on the days. And this comes back to choosing consistency over volume every single time. Choose consistency over volume every single time. When I work with someone on learning the piano, I say 10 minutes a day is way, way better than 2 hours once a week for practicing, because you're building the skill every day. You're building the muscle every day, right? And so simple is sustainable, complicated is not. And what happens when you're in this level of simplicity is it deletes decision fatigue. Because when things are complicated, you're deciding all day. You're like, oh, should I do this or this, this or this? There's all these moving parts. And it's like, the more you grow, the more moving parts there will be. At the very same time, it's all very, very simple and gets to have clean lines. And then you're not deciding, you already know, right? So it's important. And I have 7 words written down. I have 7 words written down that I am really focusing on for extreme simplicity. And I invite you to borrow these words or create your own words, but extreme simplicity is very, very, very important for just everything moving forward for you and for me. This is a return to the ancient codes. This is a return to what really works. And it's I'm just reminded, like, when you fall in love with someone, right? And it's true soul love, it's very, very simple. It's very, very easy. It's very, very natural. Natural is a good word. It's natural. Okay. So allowing that essence to permeate your whole life, this extreme simplicity. So these are the words. The first one is nature. Having the simplicity of nature in your day. Having the simplicity of putting your feet on Mother Earth, having the simplicity of walking outside, having the simplicity of staring at a cloud, having the simplicity of touching a tree, smelling a flower. Nature. Extreme simplicity. Okay, the second one is breath. Breathing. Your life force energy is so important for a life of extreme simplicity. It's very, very simple. Here's the thing is people skip the simple things. But the simplicity is where the magic is. The simplicity is where the possibility is. The simplicity is where you can really just land and receive and create and be in the flow and like, oh my God, this is amazing, right? Breathe. How are you breathing every day? Extreme simplicity. This one came through silence. How often are you in silence? How often do you hang out with yourself? Whether it's meditation, whether it's walking in silence without your phone, whether it's no music on in your house. I know a lot of people, like, I love podcasting. And of course, like, you love podcasting too, if you are here. There's got to be space between stimulus and response, though. If you're always being infiltrated with the thoughts of other people, with the words of other people, with media, with music, with TV, if you're always having some outer input, you cannot hear yourself. You cannot know yourself. You cannot decide what is meaningful in your life for you. So, like, silence, allowing that simplicity. And, you know, I'm in the silence right now. I'm making this and creating it and channeling it, but when I lean into the silence, what do I hear? Nothing. My intuition can come online. The birds sing outside. All of this. Okay, the fourth word is joy. Joy. What is the simple joy? What is the simple joy? It could be an amazing latte. I made that for myself this morning. I was like, ooh, how can I make this moment more fun? I was sitting down with my journal. I was feeling a lot of activation. I was feeling a lot of like constriction in my body, and I did breath work, and I was like, ooh, I'm gonna focus on joy. Joy is simple. And I was like, you know what? I was on my second cup of coffee, and I was like, I'm gonna make this coffee a latte. And I had coconut milk in my cupboard, and I got it out, and I made it and I put a little dash of cinnamon on it and it was so joyful. And then I did a dance to my favorite song and it was such extreme simplicity for joy. And the same thing with like going to the ocean each day. Like that's not complicated. That's not like this big to do, right? It's very, very simple, but it brings me immense joy. It brings me immense joy. So, yeah, focus on joy, the extreme simplicity of joy. The fifth word is meaning. Meaning. What gives you meaning in your life? What do the things in your life, what meaning do they have? And how can that be deepened? And how can you just relish in the true meaning for what it is for you, for the world? Like when we think about extreme simplicity, meaning gets to be at the forefront. Why would you focus on anything that doesn't have deep meaning for you? Everything else is just the complicated circus, right? Number 6, nourishment. Nourishment, physically, spiritually, emotionally. What fills your cup? What fills your cup? I can say without a shadow of a doubt, like as I'm talking about extreme simplicity, this podcast checks these boxes. I love this podcast. It gives me so much meaning. It gives me so much joy. It gives me so much nourishment. I feel nourished when I record. I feel nourished when I share. And the same thing with my amazing clients that I get to work with. It's that nourishment, right? And then the last one was study. And you might describe this as learning, but like really this extreme simplicity of study yourself, study life, learn. And you could be, experientially, maybe you hop into an art class and you've never taken that kind of like painting class before and you're studying and you're learning. For me, this looks like I'm deep in study with astrology. I'm deep in study with what's correct for me. I'm deeply studying my body graph and human design, literally studying my body. All of this is very, very simple and all of it's very, very extreme. Like one example coming through to me right now is the fact that I don't own a TV. That's extreme simplicity. Why don't I own a TV? And this is not like, oh, you need to go like throw away or donate your TV. No, you don't. But for me, when I think about these words, nature, breath, silence, joy, meaning, nourishment, study. Nature, breath, silence, joy, meaning, nourishment, study. When I think about all that, TV doesn't have any part in that. It's noise to me. I don't care about it. Like the year that I gave up TV, I had no idea it would change my life so much. And then it was like I did a whole year without TV and I was like, actually, I don't care about TV. And it's so interesting because before that, I was someone who always, without a doubt, I would get home from teaching and I would put on Netflix and watch like 2 or 3 episodes of Friends or New Girls or New Girl or Gilmore Girls every single night. Like that was my MO. And then I gave up TV for a year and I was like, actually, like I don't care about this at all. I would rather just like study or do my things. And, this is coming from the same person who over the weekend I watched, what did I watch? Um, I'm blanking on the name of it. Oh, Little Women. I watched Little Women, and that was just total joy. That was total joy and, meaning and nourishment. It was like, okay, yeah, I'm going to do this because it's fun. It's like a rainy day on Maui. Like, I'm just going to cozy up with my blanket and watch Little Women. And I loved it. And it was fun and it was magical. And it really is that extreme simplicity. And it's so clear. It's so clear when you deepen into this level of living. And it's very strategic and it's very soft. It's a strategy for holding what really, really, really matters to you. So I hope this episode serves you. I'm excited to really tune in with you. Like, what does extreme simplicity mean for you? Like, email me, message me on Instagram, let me know what this landed for you, what's coming up for you, whether this is in your relationships, in your relationship with yourself. What does nature, breath, silence, joy, meaning, nourishment, study mean for you? What's the one thing you can do that when you do it, everything else is easier or unnecessary in terms of creating your goal? What is essential? And it's this extreme simplicity. It's not halfway simple. It's not sometimes simple. It's all the way simple, extreme. We learn so much in extremes. Holding polarity is important. And people talk about moderation. I don't know if I believe in moderation. I don't know if I believe in it. I think you either do things or you don't do them. And then you decide what that means. However, moderation to me sometimes is another way of saying halfway or not committed or trying. And yeah, I just don't think I believe in moderation. I think I believe in you either do it or you don't, and then you set the terms for what that means. So, like, okay, am I doing yoga? Am I committed to my practice? Yes. What does that mean? Okay, 3 times a week or more. Okay, great. But to me, that's not moderation. That's okay, I'm doing this. This is how I'm doing it. Do you see what I'm saying? Extreme simplicity. I love this. I love this for you. I love this for me. I love this for how we're moving forward and making a better world because there's so much that can take us off course. There's so much that we can get swept up in, whether it's the scroll, whether it's the to-do list, whether it's what other people expect of us, whether it's like all this news coming at us. And it's like, the only way we're going to move through these moments and keep creating and keep serving and keep loving and keep making a change in ourselves and the world is if we lean into these ideas of extreme simplicity. So this is the pillar that you can always lean in. So that has been this transmission. If you want to work with me, these are the extremely simple ways that you can work with me. Okay. That's for some reason. I don't know why it came through so strong right now, but I was realizing that I just have way too many options for ways that people can work with me, and it's not the best use of my energy. So I really, really simplified and I'm excited about it. So there's 2 ways. You can do one-on-one mentorship with me. This is where you are in a long-term deep dive container with me. This is where we go really, really deep in daily coaching, habits, astrology, cosmic cellular breathwork, healing, shamanic guidance, all of that, my projector magic, building systems with you. So if you are interested in one-on-one mentorship, this is for you if you want the high touch, deep dive, daily support. Okay. Second thing, cosmic cellular breathwork certification. So in June, on June 19th, the cosmic cellular breathwork certification will begin. This is 8 weeks. This is 8 weeks where you will deepen into your own personal healing journey with astrology and breathwork, and you will get certified and be able to facilitate these transformations for other people. So this is for you if you want the personal transformation and you feel a call to share breath work with the world as part of your gifts. So the application to both one-on-one mentorship and cosmic cellular breathwork certification is in the show notes. If you've never experienced my work, just apply and we'll go from there. I love you so much. I believe in you. I believe in a better world. Go out there, make a stranger smile because it charges the whole field. Be the real you, be the change, be the light, be the ignite. Keep it simple, my loves. It is so, so, so deeply simple. And I invite you not into just simplicity, but extreme simplicity, natural, easy, plain. Because simple is sustainable. And we want the you and the world that will last based in what really matters. What really matters. I love you so much. And I will see you next time on A Better World with Adrienne.